I like to just follow the crowd.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the card. That's our like company. I didn't cards. Yeah, the other like company. And the shows that we perform is like part of. We like license that product, license that to them. But the club, everything else is part of the club in terms of execution, staffing, yeah. Yeah, she's not here. She's like, you know, she's no, yeah, yeah. Like 5 days. Yeah, yeah. I mean, she just. Yeah. It's fine. Well, so what we do is. Yeah. No, so my son, intern, I call that session on the life. So, and I told him to come. They have like on here, what's my name? They kind of who's performing at certain level. Yeah, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Okay, it's okay. No, I'm not scared there. I'm glad that ass I need all of that. No, Peter, you guys. Yeah. Funny. Yeah, and you know
So are you speaking before the home team or might have to do so? Eight o'clock, we're going to get started in 2 minutes. If everyone wants to come into the main room, we're going to get started in 2 minutes. Everyone wants to come in. Well, I was here yesterday. Oh. I helped him to it. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, you want to put it like, I mean, I don't mind leaving it right here. Just sure. I prefer. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Just going to get started. Everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody.
Yep. Bye. Bye.
Hello everybody. Everybody, we're getting started. That's wonderful. I'm going to let Jamie do her thing again to get us started. Please go ahead. Thank you, Jamie. Now, obviously, Jamie is in the streets of Harmony. You're going to hear this a lot through the night, and whenever you hear it, it signifies a change. The pitch story began when I made the first significant decision of my life. I decided that as soon as I could, I was going to explore the world. At just 7 years old, I remember standing outside my house where I lived in Folkestone, England, with my mum and my 2 sisters, and I had an epiphany. I realised this isn't it. There's so much more out there to do and see, and as soon as I could, I was going to go and see as much of it as I could. Now, I had an okay life as a kid. It wasn't the worst, but wasn't the best either. I was creative and curious, and from a very young age, I was enamoured by film and television production. In a way, I think it offered me a future that my real life didn't. And growing up in a fishbowl, like most people, the stories on the screen gave me an experience that, I guess it gave me an experience that gave me a sense of the world at large. I was inspired by the wild personalities, the beautiful and interesting places they would go, and of course the adventures they would go. In particular, those that were trying to save the world. I was hooked. Now, the next 11 years of my life were pretty ordinary. I was just a kid, and plenty of ups and downs along the way, but it wasn't until my college interview that my life took another big turn. I chose one college, which was the Arts Institute of Bournemouth. Had a great reputation for film production, and I had a gut feeling about it, and luckily I was right. I remember turning up for the interview with a few drawings, a couple of short films, and a few ideas, and absolutely no idea what I wanted to do in the industry. But after interviewing me for about half an hour, the course leader looked at me and quite definitively said, "You're a producer." And me, just so desperate to get in and eager to fit in, looked at him and said, "Yeah, I'm a producer." And while that opened one door for me, it actually closed another. In declaring myself a producer, I stepped away from my artistic instincts. And it didn't help that when I went to college, everyone around me was so much more talented than I was and had a much better sense of their ambitions. I did not really, I just knew I wanted to be a part of it. I also learned that being a producer offered a much broader experience, so I embraced it. Now, college was, I think unsurprisingly, one of the greatest experiences of my life. I made some of the best friends I've ever made. I was exposed to such a range of thought and talent and perspective. It was one of the most profound mirrors I've ever encountered, and I thrived in that environment. Now, there are many lessons I could share from that period of my life, but there's 2 that stuck out to me. The first is something a lecturer said to me. It's quite simple. He said, "You're going to make mistakes. Just don't make the same one twice." Brilliant advice, and while I may not have heeded it right away, I certainly held on to it, as you can see from this evening. And the second was during a class discussion when we were talking about the success of producers and directors. And the lecturer said, he said, you know what? He said, most people don't find great success until they're in their late 30s or early 40s. And this just made sense to me right away. In a way, the next 20 years of my life kind of flashed before my eyes, and I saw myself out there experiencing the world and just trying to just get as much of it as possible. And then around 40, I would find the thing that was going to be my thing. After I graduated college, I got to realize my second ambition of being a 7-year-old kid, which was to travel the world. My friend Sam, Greg, and I, we had made a plan to travel to Cuba and Central America. And the plan was quite simple. We would go traveling, we would soak it all in, and then we would come back and start the upward journey of getting into the film industry, which at the time in England was very, very small, and I knew absolutely no one in it. But as luck would have it, when I was working my summer job as a seafront ranger in Bournemouth, a commercials crew arrived one day in need of deck chairs and sunbeds. And I told them, seeing the opportunity right away, I said, you could pay me £300 to rent these things, or you can give me a job for the day, and I'll give you them for free. That was my first job in the industry, and it changed a lot for me. Now, I still went traveling with Sam and Greg, and like with college, I had some of the best experiences of my life. The people, the places, the cultures, and of course the adventures. It was everything my 7-year-old thought it would be and so much more. And once again, I was hooked. So much so that in the last 20 odd years, I've been to almost 50 countries and lived in quite a few along the way. Now, when I got back from that trip, it was time to start my career, which, as you can imagine, took a minute. At this point, I was very lucky. I knew one person in the industry, which was Simon Ashton, who was the first AD from that job. So I got in touch, and I think about 3 months later, he finally got me onto one more commercial for one day. And then 2 months later, I got another one, and then 1 month later, got one more. And pretty soon, I was a regular on commercial sets. And then one day, I got very lucky. I got pulled into this random job, which happened to be being produced by a film crew. I got to know them, and they got to know me, and they put me forward for a job on a small British movie called Creation about Charles Darwin. I got the job, and from there, it was movie to movie. I had an amazing run. Over the next decade, I worked on a James Bond movie, I did a Star Wars movie, I worked on Game of Thrones, I did a movie with Martin Scorsese, I did one with Clint Eastwood, another with Ron Howard. It was, again, everything my 7-year-old self imagined, and so much more. And it was a life of global adventure and impossible problem solving and meeting and working with thousands of people from all over the world, and it's very hot. Very hot in here. You might hear you watching at home. Very hot. But while I was having this amazing adventure, and even as my 7-year-old self was ecstatically running around the desert with R2-D2, I began to feel that something wasn't right. I wasn't happy, at least not in the way I wanted to be, and I knew that I needed to figure it out. At the same time, streaming was becoming a thing. And to me, I saw very clearly that television was about to become center stage, so I made a shift. I switched my attention from movies to high-end TV series. And again, there's a lot of luck in this story, as you'll hear it tonight, but this was very lucky. I was working on Star Wars in Abu Dhabi, and I got a call to go and work on Game of Thrones. The perfect job, and of course I just absolutely jumped at the experience and the opportunity, and that job, I have to say, was the best professional job I ever had in the film industry. The cast and crew were incredible. I loved the show, which I'm sure a lot of you did too, and I spent almost 6 months in Croatia in Spain, which was just phenomenal. And actually, a thank you to Bernie and Duncan and Declan for that one. But then I followed it up with a series for Netflix where I went to Malaysia for a year, and that turned out to be one of the hardest jobs I'd ever done. The complete opposite, not least of which was because I had a major emergency, that's what I'm looking for, emergency neck surgery in Malaysia, in southern Malaysia, in not the greatest hospital. And that experience kind of just confirmed what I kind of had the suspicion of a few years earlier, that I just wasn't in the right place and I needed to make a change. But as again, luck would have it, more great timing, just as I was realizing I didn't want to do this anymore, I got the opportunity to go and work for the HBO production team in Los Angeles. Arguably the best TV production company in the world, and at the time, of being someone who likes to learn lots of different things, I was very interested in learning about the corporate side of the business. And I guess like other pivotal decisions in my life, it was an easy one. I took the job and it was just amazing. The other part of it with HBO, and the other lucky timing for me, is that when I joined HBO, it was the beginning of 5 of the most transformational years in the entertainment history. And I had a front row seat to sit behind and in front of the camera, in front of the curtain, and it was eye-opening. So many unforgettable moments, so many incredible experiences, and of course the challenges and hard lessons along the way. This mic, you got to be very careful with this mic. But over time at HBO, like before, I began to realize I was feeling fulfilled. What I ended up realizing is that kid in me that dreamed of working movies and TV and dreamed of traveling the world also dreamed of saving the world. And I realized that at HBO, where I thought it might be a better opportunity to get me closer to that goal, as I got deeper, I realized it wasn't. I realized, in fact, that path ahead was narrowing, and it really just confirmed to me that this part of my life was over, this chapter was done, and I needed to work out what to do. But of course, I had no idea what to do next, so I kept going for a little bit longer. Not long after, I got the opportunity to work at Amazon Studios. Again, I had an interest in learning about the tech industry. I never worked for a big tech company, and I had a sense that it was going to be important for me to understand this, so I took the job. And again, I learned so much there. I've seen about technology, about systems, and about people, but most importantly about myself. But the one thing it really confirmed, of course, was that I was done with this industry. My anxiety was peaking. I found it very difficult to connect with the work and the culture, and quite frankly, I just couldn't make myself care. It was really, really difficult and a very hard time in there with that. But after 1 year at Amazon, I took one last punt at an industry job at a startup, and I won't go into details on that one, but it didn't work out. But it was the final push I needed. It allowed me the space to step back and reflect on my life and begin the deep work of figuring out what I'd been working on my whole life. I knew I was close to something. I just needed the time and the courage to finally take a step back and do it. And finally, I had both.
Inevitable, certain to happen, or unavoidable. Like good things being attracted to good people like magnets, or goodbyes after a long day or a long life or a long flight. You are inevitable, and because you have been intertwined with me, so am I. Your words speak to me, leaving my lips with a familiar aftertaste as if I knew them inherently. Forwards and backwards, they exist within me too. You are an oxymoron to me. Something like a well-known stranger, or singing along word for word to a song I've never heard. In unsettling comfort, you are a living, breathing contradiction. A combination of statements, ideas, or features that are opposed to one another, like how sometimes it is in death that we find new life, and how even through the pain we celebrate. We smile through sorrowful tears, leaving trails of salt where the memories lay, both leaving you be and carrying you with us wherever we may go. Inevitably existing, contradicting what I understand. You fill me with the knowledge that I know nothing. Challenging me to breathe with the wind and grow with the grass, to shed with the trees and cry with the clouds. I will always seek you out. For it's within your wind and your grass that I learned to survive. Under my boots where I found you, I found the stones that I used to slay my Goliath. You taught me that I am David. I am Shadrach, emerging from the furnace unscathed. I am large too. I am also a product of the multitudes I contain. I come from it, and I'm cut from it, from you, from the people and the word, from everything around me, and even the things I barely knew. I exist to exist for you. I fight to live for you. You are my family and my worst enemy, my biggest fear and my most precious thing. You are true justice, both honest and fair. Injustice in this cruel world is within itself a contradiction, another something to try to understand, to attempt to wrap my untamed mind around. I build you up to lean on you. I beam for you and glean from you, and even in this moment, I feel you. All of your power and your deafening silence, your bigness keeps me up at night. Big words and big wars leading to big wins. I am big within too, and it's because of you, the inevitable. You.
One of the first things I did after deciding to change my life was go on a no-tech retreat in the mountains. No phones, no laptop, just a cabin and my favorite thing in the world, nature. The ambition was simple. I wanted to clear my head, to reflect on my life and get a sense of what it could mean for the future. More specifically, when I was a kid, I had this quiet sense I was working on something. And because of that, I spent my life paying attention to the world around me. I took risks that others thought were mistakes, and I walked down side paths that just felt like they were part of the bigger story. I believe that the more diverse my experiences, the more prepared I would be when the moment arrived. And I was hoping this trip would set me on the right path moving forward. A couple of days in on a hot afternoon, I sat on the deck and I picked up a pencil and started drawing this picture right here, this tree. And the moment the pencil hit the paper, my shoulders relaxed, my focus sharpened, and I felt this rush of excitement. And what I realized is, as I look back on that moment, is that I unlocked the part of myself that I locked away in that college interview all those years before. Now, when I got home, it was a wave of creativity. The first thing I did was go to the art store to get more supplies. First I got pencils and then pastels, and eventually I was on charcoals and paint and getting onto acrylic and getting onto oil. And that artistic gateway, for want of better words, also triggered a broader transformation in me. It switched on the proactive learning part of my brain. Now, I'd always look for and absorb information, but mostly it was pretty passive. This moment marked a massive shift for me, and I realized that I had this rare opportunity, one that was entirely dedicated to learning, and I leaned in. I taught myself to write better, to build a website, to design graphics. I started a Substack, I started a podcast, I developed 2 TV series. I consumed so many books and podcasts on history and technology and communication and philosophy and personal growth and anything else that caught my attention. It was incredible. At the same time, I committed to my personal growth like never before. Therapy, healthy lifestyle habits. And for the first time, I felt like I was catching up, and I felt like I was really getting to know me. It was probably the most deliberate and nourishing period of my life. And before long, I began to understand what truly mattered to me and what didn't. It started with art, but it reframed how I thought about the world. It gave me a fresh perspective on joy, on purpose, and the vast societal problems we face. It made me think more about our species, our future, and what makes a meaningful life. One insight stood out, one thing kept coming back to me, and it was what I see as one of the greatest challenges we face as a species, as bad communication. I believe that more and more we're losing our ability to effectively communicate with one another. Talking to people is a skill like anything else, and to get good at it, you need to do it often. With lots of people from different backgrounds and different experiences and different ways of communicating, and the more you do it, and the more variety of people you do it with, the stronger your communication muscles get. But most people, of course, live in fish bowls. Most people don't get the chance to meet and work and experience so many different people, greatly limiting their potential. Not just in how they talk to each other, but how they think, how they connect, and how they move through the world. Other problems surfaced along the way through my thinking, but communication kept coming back. It felt foundational. It's the reason our species made it this far 10,000 years later. It's a pivotal part of who we are. But life has changed so much in the last 30 years. 30 years ago, when you wanted to talk to someone, you picked up a phone, you went and knocked on their door, or you wrote them a letter. But then the internet happened, and suddenly with it, 1,000 ways to connect with each other. And ironically, we're more disconnected than ever. We're overwhelmed mentally, emotionally, socially, and we're drowning in information. And our ability to effectively communicate with clarity and with empathy and with perspective is diminishing. And of course, with the rise of AI, it's even more urgent we reclaim this skill both individually and collectively. To make matters worse, we're living in a time when everything is binary, two sides to every story. And the tragedy, the double tragedy, is that as one side is trying to silence the other, they're not only stifling their growth, they're stifling their own too. And that's dangerous for any species, let alone one that owes its entire survival to communication. And as I continue to create and learn and reflect, I felt like I was getting close to something. But one thing still wasn't right. I was living in Los Angeles, and I didn't want to be. For a long time, my ex and I, we talked of moving. We wanted to be closer to nature. We wanted to be in a place we could breathe, we could think, we could work on our projects in peace. LA was not that. Now, LA was fun for a while. Like, I was there for almost 8 years, and it served its purpose. But in all that time, I never felt at home while I was there. And by the end, I couldn't wait to leave. And like clockwork, my ex, who is originally from Buffalo, found a house to rent on a farm in Orchard Park. It was perfect. And amazingly, the same price as our apartment in LA, which is nuts. Again, easy decision. We didn't need to overthink it. It was like LA is done and Buffalo is on. So very quickly after, we jumped in the car with the dog and the cat. And in October 2023, we drove across the country from LA to Buffalo and never looked back. Yeah,
Listen, searching for my soul so I can pass the light. Snapping your fingers now so much time has passed you by. It took my whole life to understand how to be alive. And now I'm right here in my mind and trying to be divine. Still climbing that mountain to the top. See, I'ma take my time. Staring at my legs, wishing got me feeling warm inside. Mind been so chaotic, got me. Feel like two minds just had to collide. It's bread and love, it's all I coincide with. Let's hear a smile. At least in space, can you just let me breathe? Look at my over, say I'm so unique. And it's your word, you know I'm stingy with my energy. Peace and love, I hope I don't have any enemies. Let me be. Let me see that's from the tallest trees. Ain't got my mind like the color resting on the leaves. They say the truth will always set you free. Then if that's the case, then I'm the greatest in the recipe. I work for everything, yeah. Peace and prosperity is all I need. Peace and prosperity is meant for me. You can't stop what God has. You can't stop what I am. Peace and prosperity is all I need. Peace and prosperity is meant for me. You can't stop what I got. You can't stop what I am. Bow my head to pleasant melodies, I think to myself, how many people really love me? What is good for my health? If I fear God, that means I'm fearing myself. Because my soul is irreplaceable, impeccable. Some days I feel like pressure from others got overwhelming, so I turn to myself. Trying to be greatness, look the boss. Sometimes I feel been straight and braille ever since. I'm pity for your lost niggas with dedication. Trying to strive and make it out the matrix, hope it makes sense. I'm gonna fix it, now I'm hopping over. I've been shadow boxing myself, so I can get some closure. Fighting my demons, feeling like a soldier. Sharpen my roots every time I hear them getting closer. Tell my niggas wake up so we can smell the vultures. Look like some roses, ain't some chances. Now it's time to focus. A life so open, I've been living all the greatest moments. Now I'm just hoping I can find my way beside this ocean. Yeah, peace and prosperity is all I need. Peace and prosperity is meant for me. You can't stop what God has. You can't stop what I have. Peace and prosperity is all I need. Peace and prosperity is meant for me. You can't stop what God has. You can't stop what I have. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You can't stop. You can't. You can't. It's my peace. My peace. Yeah. Uh, the prosperity. Yeah. Yo. And I know you're looking down from the heavens, fighting my demons, trying to take away all my blessings. And when I say I love you, just know I really meant it. And you give me so much power that I feel to mention. Jeremiah, personal obligations got me stressing, but it's alright. At any moment, I'm about to take flight. Feel so electric like that key on the kite. Blowing the wind and channel all my consciousness to focus on this beautiful sunrise. And that's right, a perfect gentleman. Writing these poems over beats to show my finishing. It's always sunny on this side, feeling excellent. Melanin glowing, show the world my beautiful as skin. I flourish, drinking my water, now my roots are nourished. Made a lot of mistakes, but still I came out perfect. Keep my mind open, can never close the curtains. Gotta let the light shine, it always serves its purpose. So perfect, yeah. If I don't, yeah. So we can go, yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I go to the spot, yeah, Slow down, don't gotta rush it. Patience is key. Just sit back and watch the sunset. Told my mama watch me sunrise through all the tough shit. I made it this far. Why would I stop? My pace is perfect. Sit down and watch me get my smile on. Birds singing to my melodies, the greatest. Let me put my crown on. I'm never looking down because up is what my eyes on. Never come down for anyone. He just got on. Peace, love, and prosperity for clarity. Flowers, roses under roses, sweet serenity. I should ask my shorty girl, will you marry me? Spend a lifetime and be out, with it up, be my destiny forever. See, move your feet to my heartbeat. Even if I seems I got it all, still not complete. Working on myself for my future sunrise and understand even the darkness couldn't stop the sunlight. Always sunny on this side. Yeah. If I don't, yeah.
Really kind of.
That's neat.
Really kind of.
Yeah.
Stay alive. Yeah. Yeah. So when I go back to the street, yeah. When I, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
I first heard of Buffalo from my friend Maggie, and sadly she couldn't make it tonight, but it's her birthday, so happy birthday to Maggie. And while we're on that, to my friends Dave and Dan in England, it's also their birthday. Maggie and I worked together at HBO, and I always appreciated her insight and her perspective. And one day when I was talking to her, she mentioned to me that she was from Buffalo. And I had never heard of Buffalo. I had no idea what or where it was, but as soon as she said it, it caught my attention and I became instantly curious. And the more she told me, the more intrigued I became. And very quickly I decided I needed to visit. Not long after, I met my ex, as you know, is from Buffalo. And it made me even more curious. So by the time I ended up visiting at the end of 2021, I was already pretty excited and very relieved and excited that it only went on to exceed my expectations. When I first visited, it was peak COVID. It was a freezing winter. Movement was limited, but even though people were sick, it felt like Buffalo was alive. Like there was an energy here bubbling beneath the surface. And I remember being on Hertel and saying out loud, there's something going on here in this city. And I feel like I'm going to spend time here in the future, and had no intention to in that moment. Looking back, I think one of the reasons I was so drawn to Buffalo is that I saw myself in this city. Both of us seasoned and tested and a little bruised, but both standing on strong foundations and ready to grow in a whole new way. And I felt like we were both approaching an inflection point. Now, I know Buffalo's been here before, on the edge of greatness. There's been promises made, there's been moments missed, but maybe that was all preparation. And while others charged ahead, Buffalo learned. It laid a deeper foundation. And right now, as I said, it feels like something special is happening in this city. It feels like this city is finally catching up to the spirit that's always been here. And I feel like it's at a tipping point, and not one that comes from hype or just words. It comes from seasons of really hard work and a lot of reflection. My first few months in Buffalo were wonderful, especially compared to LA. It was night and day. Again, my anxiety eased, my clarity sharpened, and I felt a shift coming. Not long after, I actually went back to England, where I think you all know at this point I'm from. It was the first time I've been back in a while, and having done so much personal work, I wanted to go back to reconnect with where it all began. And what stood out to me wasn't what happened while I was there, it was what didn't happen while I was there. I found that what used to irritate me didn't anymore. I was calmer. I was more grounded. And for the first time in my life, when I was at home, I didn't try and solve all the problems. I just observed and listened and learned. But again, while I was traversing England, a common theme emerged: bad communication. I started to see everywhere I looked, in families, in friendships, in strangers. I remember seeing a couple arguing, and they were both speaking English, but had absolutely no idea what each other was saying to the other one. And it hit me. We don't know how to talk to each other anymore. And the more I thought about it, the clearer it became. And pretty quickly, the second crucial piece of Q revealed itself. It's the idea that most of what we know, we learn from experiences and other people. The more things we do and the more people we meet, the more we learn and the more we grow. But again, most people don't get the opportunity to do new things regularly or meet new people, greatly limiting their potential. So I asked myself, what if I could create a space where people could talk to people from all around the world about anything at any time, but with intention? And just like that, the first scene of Q bloomed. The idea was simple. I wanted to help people get better at talking, not through a class or through a book, but through real conversations with real people in real time. So how does it work? Q Anytime, which is just over here. Very simple. You make 3 choices on Q Anytime. First, you pick what you want to talk about. Then you pick how many people you want to talk to, and then how long you want to talk for, and you press connect. And instantly, you're connected with people from all around the world, not people you know, not people that are in your social network or people around you in your community, but people from all around the world with entirely different experiences and perspectives and ideas on how to navigate life. People that share your curiosity about a topic, that share your interest and share your desire to grow. You want to talk about hip hop, climate tech, startups, the Buffalo Bills? You can. You want to talk in a smaller group? You want to talk in quicker calls? You can absolutely do that. It's totally up to you. And as you talk, something magical happens. While you're exposed to different voices and new ideas, you start to learn things that you would never learn in a book or online. And all the while, without noticing, you're getting better at talking to people. That's the brilliance of Q Anytime. While learning about something you care about, you're also practicing one of the most fundamental skills any person can have. You're developing empathy, you're listening, you're articulating your thoughts, you're bridging gaps, and you're making connections. Q Anytime solves other problems too, as we think about the loneliness epidemic and isolation, and of course the echo chambers that we've all been dragged into. Q Anytime offers an alternative space, one that thrives on nuance and difference, and where people can all grow together. When the idea hit, I knew instantly, this is the thing I've been preparing for. Not just in the last few years, but my whole life. And it came to me at just the right moment too. A year before, and I wouldn't have been ready, but now, after all the work, all the reflection, and all the learning, I was ready to get to Buffalo and get started.
Hi, everybody. We're Buffalo Comedy Collective. We're going to do a quick improv game based on we just heard the first 3 chapters of The Cute Journey. So, if you're out there listening, hats on. We're going to play 3 different scenes, and as we rotate through, it'll each get a different prompt on what we just heard. So, we're not going to do a replay by any means. We're just going to take inspiration and go from there. So, from the first chapter, anyone can shout out with something that resonated or stood out. Could be a word, a theme, anything from the first chapter of Cute.
Fishbowl.
What was that?
Fishbowl.
Fishbowl. Awesome. This pairing is fishbowl. Thank you. Switch left. Our next pairing, the second chapter of Q. Same thing. Theme, word, phrase, anything like that.
7-year-old.
7-year-old. Awesome. Yeah, 7-year-old right here. Switch left. And we just heard the third chapter with something inspirational from the third chapter.
Buffalo.
Other than Buffalo, let's get one extra thing to Buffalo. Growth. Growth. I heard growth in Buffalo. Growth in Buffalo. Let's do a recap before we play. Right here we got growth in Buffalo. Switch.
Fishbowl.
Switch.
7 years old.
And begin.
I'm turning 7 tomorrow. I turn 7. Yay! What's it like being 7? Okay, so it's so different. Are you ready, Harriet? I don't know if I'm ready, Gina. Okay, think carefully. Okay, when you are 7, you can see extra colors. What? Yeah. What? What's the extra color? Orange.
Got an idea, honey.
Oh, sweetheart, not another one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna plant this buffalo,
Oh.
and it's gonna grow. We're gonna have buffalo all year long.
Oh, does it at least have some, that's not the kind with the wings?
No, no.
So in addition to orange, right? I grew 17 inches last night. What? If I grew 17 inches, my pants will be short. That's right. And that's so cool, isn't it? Actually, yeah, it's super hot. Yeah, I'm ready to be 7. Are you gonna have this over? Yeah, I'm ready to be there when I turn 7. I would be honored, little thing, to be there when you turn 7. Thank you so much for being my mentor. I'm your mentor.
I don't know. It's gonna grow. I mean, I put it deep enough, we blow the frost line, and everything twice. It's gonna grow.
Did you use the fertilizer?
No.
You gotta fertilize buffalo. That's the rules.
Oh, but
I think you need buffalo chips for that.
so you fertilize buffalo with
With
buffalo?
buffalo. No, buffalo chips. That's the
Oh.
food.
Switch.
How long you been in here?
47 months.
Wow.
Yeah. In starfish, that's like 8 years.
Oh, wow, cool.
But I can read the calendar. I'm pretty smart.
My buddy is kind of floating up there, upside down.
Oh no, he's dead.
Oh,
Yeah.
your sleepover was amazing. How are you feeling, 7? There's so much orange. Yes, there's orange everywhere. I believed you, but I didn't know.
Oh, honey, dig it up.
No, I think I see a tail.
Oh,
Hey, who knew they would grow like that?
well, they come off the bottom first, I guess.
Oh, well, that's gonna be awkward.
That might be weird.
Oh.
We might get our own buffalo chips.
Switch left.
Should we have a funeral for it or something?
Well, if we say words,
Words.
that's what I always hear, like the landers say, you know, words. So like, good fish, dead now.
Dead
Switch
now.
right. Switch right.
Oh, it's
That's a buffalo booty right there.
And that's our time. Thank you so much. Buffalo was the perfect place to build Q. For all the reasons I mentioned before and so many more. But when I moved here, I felt at home immediately. Having traveled around the world, I can say with confidence that Buffalo has it all, or at least the potential to. It's not just the place, of course, it's the people like all of you in this room. You're the reason someone like me could turn up in this city and a year and a half later as a complete outsider make something like this happen. And I'm here, as will anyone else that follows me, standing on your shoulders. So thank you to all of you. But before I found all of you, I had a lot of work to do. When I started developing Q, all I had was an idea. I had no technology, I had no coders, and certainly no experience in either of those things, and I had no resources. And I just knew it would be a while before I'd be able to realize Q anytime, or I'd have to try it for real. So I focused on what I could control, research and iteration and feedback. I consumed constantly, I created decks, I refined the vision, and most importantly, I talked to people. First, I talked to people that I knew, friends and mentors and connections all over the world. And the more I shared the idea, the more I realized how deeply it resonated with people. People from different backgrounds with different lives, but a very similar response. This is exactly what the world needs. Those conversations helped shape the vision of Q and confirmed I was onto something. As the vision sharpened, I knew it was time to connect with Buffalo. To build Q here, I was going to have to understand this city deeply, the energy, the people, and everything that makes it what it is. So, and the more I leaned in, the more I felt not just that Buffalo was the right place for Q, but that Q could be a really good thing for Buffalo too. First, Maggie, my friend from Buffalo, she introduced me to Matt Enstis and Kyrie Stevens at BNMC. They offered me office space, some very thoughtful feedback, and some early momentum. And then from there, I spent months and months and months meeting Buffalonians from tons of different communities, one intro leading to the next. And along the way, I was doing my best to understand each of you and each of the other folks I met, not just as individual, but as reflections of this city. I was listening and looking for patterns. I was paying attention to the details, and I tried to grasp not only how this city could shape Q, but how Q might serve this city in return. It's also worth noting that during this time, I wasn't working on Q full time. I had to pay the bills. And actually, I applied for hundreds of jobs across 2023 and 2024 and got very little back. In the end, I got pretty scrappy. I was delivering flowers for Williams Florist in West Seneca. I was laying floors. I was building chicken coops. I did a lot of odd jobs. I did some graphic design work, and I even helped Sacred Heart, who are one of our partners tonight, set up and pull down several of their stages at events. And at some point during this time, I really started to think about how I could help people get the best experience from Q Anytime. I wanted to make sure that every conversation left people sharper and wiser and further along on their growth journey. I asked myself, what would it take to make every moment valuable? And I think it was this line of thought that sparked a personal revelation in me. At the end of 2024, I got the final piece I needed to fully understand what Q is. I realized that even though life was knocking me around, I was happier than I'd ever been. And as I sat with that and reflected on that, I saw why. I realized that I was learning constantly. In every part of my life, it had all become a classroom. And as I was navigating every day, I did it with purpose to learn from every moment. And what struck me was that every time I learned something, even something small, I felt joy, like a real physical, spiritual, and mental joy. And that's when it hit me. Q isn't just a platform, it's a way of looking at life. It's a way of turning each moment into something valuable, into something meaningful. It's a way to keep getting better constantly. You know, people say, I just want to be happy. And quite frankly, I think I found a bit of a cheat code with Q. Because when you approach this life, when you approach life this way, with the intention to grow from every experience, you get better constantly and you constantly feel joy, even in the hard times. And that's the kind of happiness that lasts. And just when I thought 2024 had already given me enough, things shifted again. I got an email from Tech Buffalo. It had a story in it about a program at the University of Buffalo run by Professor Alan Hunt. And the concept was simple. Master's students would spend a semester building an app for a local company for free. Let me say that again. After a year of trying to figure out how to build Q anytime, no developers, no money, and no team, suddenly I had a path to a real MVP in 6 months for free. Felt like winning the lottery. I didn't have the team yet, but I knew I had a shot.
That's why I'm ready for everything. My integrity is closer, better than the will I be. Standing on my mountain top, the sun that been coming down. Telling my brothers I got them, frequencies all around. The G.O.D., the G.O.Ds, when that bitch doesn't lie. To travel through my eyes, been the wrong person, that's why I'm shining through your eyes. Difference between you and I, praying to utilize. Who was you praying for? Who was you praying to? My days are playing different, you're always based on my daily moves. I don't use that yet, I don't do daily news. I'm never chasing things, my dreams turn into a truth. Potential was taking over my ego views. What is you standing on? Over the start of the views. I'm reminiscing about tomorrow. I see it through. Please do not question my drive. I can tighten these rules. I am like top 5. I am about passing through. My manifestation is calling. Please let me be excused. Yeah. This felt like a cinema. I'm until my brain's going to pick it up. This felt like a cinema. I'm until my brain's going to pick it up. Sitting on a mountain top like it's a sun in the side of the bar. And bump with a gun to shoot for fun in the eyes of my mom. The chosen one with the stars is from. Spotting the competition, my position make me more adjacent for the composition, division, opposition, missing. Got the clocks and pistol fight the cops is locking, knocking down before they hop in. They got the neighbors watching for the toxins. Beat the melody is heavenly, me heavily. The war side his enemies will run me. Medicine, I get it for mental peace. Peace of mind is blessed time and time is honestly divine. The top priority is dollar signs. Stop on and down to recognize the power of the mind is my design. My mama told me that's the mighty mind. It's microphone pro, we need those to reload the people. We keep noise, so I close eyes and I breathe slow. Meditate throughout the day so I can boost my ego. But the three dogs who we know is lethal, my people. Hands high, if we keep composed. Time is the evolution, see the growth. I can see the growth, yeah. It's been like a cinema. I'm until tell my brothers go and pick it up. This was like a cinema. I'ma tell my brothers go and pick it up. Yeah, brothers go and pick it up. Yeah, this was like a cinema. Yeah, this was like a cinema. I'ma tell my brothers go and pick it up.
People sometimes say, you know the most. Thank you for using my heart as a host. You say love is a drug, I guess I overdosed. Guess there's no such thing as mental. I took my turn, now I'm on the road. It's dark out, it's late.
The mental is invasion where I stress somebody. Spend some lifetime trying to be somebody. Bigger than anything, bigger than diamond rings, bigger than chasing greens. I'm reaching other things. My wealth mentality carries my spirit high. Is it higher than God? Is it higher than I feel it more than life. If I notice your ignorance, I will not be surprised. My mama told me that I'm pretty, I believe it now. Telling people I'm connected, but they don't see how. Communication is in danger with this service crowd. Money cannot buy my style. I run 1,000 miles. My destination wild. It ain't no competition. It's just my value now. Showing off my tattoos at my grandma's house. And I'm still a role model to the future crowd. Thinking to myself, so I'm never I don't want to do too much. Bless me.
We're going to take a little break now. We're just going to take 10 minutes. Everyone wants to get a drink, get some water, go to the restroom. It's 8 o'clock now. At 8:10, we'll be getting going again. All right? Take a second. Yeah, get some air. Get some air.
I think it's
Thank you for seeing.
it's actually.
You know already, hearing me talk from
Here we go. I'm feeling it.
You good?
Feeling good.
Good.
Somebody move it.
I don't know what the problem is. I'm supposed to speak.
I want maybe. Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah, I stay up.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Oh, you're fine. Okay. I think. My parents over here. Oh, nice. You know where everything is. Well, I've been running here. That's what
A month and a half. Yeah. Enjoy this beautiful night. So,
And his favorite aspect of the business, all of the things, yes, is what and I was good. Like I spent my niece like how can you only chicken and rice too, that's crazy. And I'll say I'm not yes, like I will make it and even so like
so you met David at HBO.
Yeah.
Which department you were in?
We were both in production, but I was specifically listening.
Got it. And how do you play?
Sa HBO?
Oh my God. Bye. Enjoy you later. I know you other times. I'm still here. Yeah, it's so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Excuse me, setting this up.
Everybody's got a thing.
Yeah, man. How you doing?
It's good. There have been times where it's been super pixelated, so like I asked David if he was on the Wi-Fi. He said he was, but for a while it was very pixelated, so I don't know what it's gonna look like. Like that. What do you think?
Is it back to get started? Everyone can try anything. We're going to get started. Everyone out there, everyone come in. Thank you. New York? New York? I entered 2025 with one priority, to get a team to build Kubernetes. I knew it would thrust me forward, so to execute. I knew if I could get back the team, things would snowball from there. I spent a month honing my pitch, designing the deck. I had 2 minutes and I had to get it all across, and it had to be clear and concise and impactful. Now, the writing and designing took a minute, but most of my energy went into the delivery. Public speaking is not really my thing, so I had to practice the pitch, and I knew that if I got it right, it was going to be a big part of shaping my future, so I practiced. But I didn't practice in a mirror. That's not really my style. Instead, I practiced while walking, while door dashing, while out in the world. And my thinking was, if I can nail this pitch while the world's coming at me, when I'm standing still in a quiet room, it's going to be really easy. And it worked for the most part. But even with the prep, I was very nervous come pitch day. There were 40 students who had split into teams of 5, and there were 12 teams pitching for their act to be done. I only had to go 4, I only had to beat 4, but I wasn't taking anything for granted. When it was my turn, my heart was racing. But I was also very calm, because I believed every word I was saying. In having to distill the vision for Q into 2 minutes, it forced me to get to the core of it. A mindset that's changed my life. I knew could change others too. So I stepped up and I came and I said what I came to say, and amazingly, I got the team. And I got really lucky too. I got an amazing team, and unfortunately, I don't think any of them were able to be here tonight because they're all in different places. But I'll give them a shout out to Darshan and Shruti and Gerline and Noah and Jackie. I hope they're watching from afar, and thank you all again for all of your work. They were very thoughtful and driven and extremely passionate from day one, and with Alan Hunt leading the team, I felt very, very confident they were going to get the job done. Now, I knew nothing about building apps, and in week 2, when I had to deliver wireframes, something I'd never done before, I was a little bit taken aback, but we hit the ground running. We faced challenges, sure, but we hit the deadlines, we solved the tough problems, and by the end of it, we got a working MVP. I'll never forget the moment and the smiles on mine and Darshan and Shruti's faces when we connected for the first time on the Q Anytime app. It was all the last minute problems just before, it was pure relief and joy rolled into one. A couple of weeks into the development of Q Anytime, knowing I was going to have a working MVP in a few months, I started to think about the launch. And at first, it was simple to me. I would just host a party at my house where I get all the people there who helped me on this journey and say thank you and celebrate everyone and celebrate Buffalo in the same way. But very quickly, my brain outgrew the space. And I think if you look around the room, you kind of get a sense why. I was looking at my paintings in my living room, and I started to connect the dots. And I realized that everything I'd done up until this point, every twist and turn was part of the Q story. Q wasn't just an idea to make some money, it was the culmination of my life so far. And if I was going to introduce it to the world, I'd have to do it in a way that reflected that. But I also wanted to celebrate Buffalo. Not just those of you who contributed directly, but the city at large. Like I said before, I don't think there's anywhere else in the world I could have built Q or would want to have built Q. And getting the app built for free was just one of the many reasons I'm so happy to be here. So I set out on a mission, not just to launch Q, but also help this city realize the potential that I saw so clearly. I wanted to share my experience with Q in this city in the hopes it might encourage others to give this city a shot too. I wanted to show people that Buffalo was at a tipping point, and that with the right push, this place could become something extraordinary. I hope to inspire people to stay, to come, to invest in themselves and in this city. Because right now, all of you and all of us in the city, we have a chance not just to embrace the future, but to create it. And if we can flip a switch here in Buffalo, shifting this city's mindset from reaction to action, we can show the world what's possible when an entire city decides to grow all at once. Not today, not tomorrow, today. Do me a favor, and some you come to this side of the room, please, for this performance. You come over here. The edge of the photo wall, let's assume that's the line. Thank you.
They're in your hand.
No, the other ones.
Oh,
Beneath it.
Yeah, you look future.
sure.
I'll try it.
Before I get into this one, this is looking pretty empty. All you need to be contributing to this is make some art together here. Make some art. When I was in the early stages of developing Q, I remember watching a video about launching your app. The advice was simple. He said, don't worry about the launch of your app. Just get the product out there. No one's going to remember the launch anyway. And I thought to myself, no. No. That is not me, and it's certainly not Q. I think even when I watched that video, probably a year ago now, and I knew that while Q Anytime was a significant part, it was just one piece of the Quniverse. I had no sense how vast and expansive the Quniverse was, but I knew one thing for sure. Just dropping the app on the App Store was not going to be it for me. That approach lacks any sense of Q's culture, its purpose, its mission, its vision, everything that gives it life. And ironically, that video encouraged me more. I thought, if most people are being told not to worry about their launch, that means that the few who do, especially those that go all in, have a much better shot at standing out. And with that in mind, and as most of you know, tonight is just step 1 in 4 of the Q launch. While I'm hopeful tonight will move the needle to some extent, I also understand it will have a limited impact in the short term. That's why I felt it essential to extend this impact much beyond this room. I wanted to connect with as many communities in Buffalo as possible. So I designed this series of experiences to do exactly that. Right after this, or soon after this, first up will be the citywide campaign. In the coming months, Q will flood Buffalo. Billboards, bus stops, buses, posters, flyers, pins, merch, interviews, pop-ups, social media. Q will be everywhere you look. And the goal is simple. I want to train this city to see every moment as a chance to grow. Once the city is tuned in, that's when we drop the Buffalo Cube Quest, a 10-day treasure hunt around this city designed to show people what I see here. A city bursting with pride and opportunity and potential. Each clue leads to a box filled with Buffalo-centric prizes, experiences, invitations to grow, showcasing to Buffalonians and to the rest of the world just how much this city has to offer. As the Q Quest wraps up, that's when I will finally be launching the Q Anytime beta. And on that note, we will be inviting users to Q Anytime based on the order you signed up on the website. So if you haven't done so yet, please do so. It's growth in your pocket. Now, as all this rolls out, one of the things that's very important to me is sharing. Not just the highlights or the behind the scenes, but the tough calls and the hard lessons too, through events like this, through podcasts, through films, through short form drops, whatever form it takes. We want to make sure that you can learn from our journey as much as we're learning from yours. Transparency isn't just a value to me, it's how Q grows too. That's why I'll be inviting Qusers at every step of the way to offer feedback. And by being open with you, my hope is that your insights and your perspective will be informed and honest and valuable, not just to me and to Q, but to all those others learning alongside you. Another way that I'm supporting the mission of Q from the ground up is how I chose to incorporate Q. Q is a public benefit corporation. Unlike traditional C Corps, whose only legal obligation is to make as much profit as possible, we're required as a public benefit corporation to balance three priorities: profit, social good, and environmental impact. That's not just paperwork, it's how we protect the soul of Q from the ground up. Now, the other thing I'll mention is that because Q is about helping lots of people grow, not just a few, our equity structure reflects that too. Now, most startups, for those of you not aware, generally allocate 10 to 15% to the employee stock option pool. At Q, it's 35%. If you help build Q, you will be rewarded for the time and the belief and the love that you put in. And by the way, that starts tonight. The team members, the performers, and the artists who contributed pieces tonight, and all of those who helped bring this launch to life, are walking away with shares of Q. That's nearly 70 people, and so many of them from Buffalo, and so many of them right here in this room. And as Q grows, so will they. And as they grow, the idea is that it ripples outwards to their families and to their communities, and hopefully to the generations that follow, all from one night. And the funny thing about this is that the whole night was a bit of an experiment. In fact, it's kind of like 20 experiments in one, but the one that really mattered, the one that everything else hinged on, was, would anyone else see what I saw in Q and in Buffalo? And as I look around this room, I look at all those faces, and I've spoken to so many of you tonight, I have my answer.
can't stand when people try to put her down. How is she supposed to rise? You just make her drown. Don't you try and blame anyone else. You're gonna have them to blame. Such yourself. If we all just took one step to the left or the right, and then we all just opened our eyes and stand up and face the change instead of looking surprised. You are just looking surprised. People from here can't wait to get the hell out. They don't know all that they have till we find out that outside these walls is that mighty big world filled with all the same new different things that I saw as a girl. Oh, I am Buffalo girl. Oh, I am just a Buffalo girl. This signaling me to blue. This is the land where I met you. You and you. You and you. We lived two blocks apart, 20 years, right time you suddenly appeared. Changed everything that I thought that I knew about my life. Told me to cry, everything's not alright, it's alright. Oh yeah, baby, now it's alright. 'Cause you could always see right through my street. You knew all the spots that I even started to heal. And then the truth started to heal. I'm not gonna lie and say that there's no pain. Just knowing that you could help me to feel again, it's alright. Oh yeah, baby, it's alright. So I am oh, I am just a Buffalo girl. This signaling to blue. 'Cause this is the land where I met You and you, you and you.
We've heard enough about me for now. This penultimate chapter, I'd like to just highlight a lot of people in this room and a lot of people that made this possible, and some of them might be out there now, we'll see. But that's it. I had a lot of trust I had to put in a lot of people to make tonight happen. And fortunately, everyone made it really easy. From the team, the performers, the artists, the partners, everything came together so nicely. And again, this is an example of how amazing the people in Buffalo are and how much talent there is just here waiting to be taken advantage of and to be experienced and to be enjoyed. First off, I just would like to talk about my team. I'm just going to quickly go through the list. We have Juwaria Dahir, Juwaria has helped with a lot of stuff to make this happen, a lot of networking connections, but tonight she was a sleeper agent for me. Because I'm up here, I couldn't do the logistics anymore. Juwaria was there just to make sure everything kind of happened as it should happen. We had Josh Ketry, who has been a great big supporter of Q over the last few months, and Josh was also a sleeper agent, and basically, if the shit hit the fan, Josh steps in. That's his role. We have Max and Paul on camera. Get each other there. Both these guys have been fantastic. They had a fun job because because we're constantly moving, they're constantly having to shift perspective and kind of capture all the action and kind of move around. So they had a great time. I also want to highlight Patrick and Dan from Sacred Heart, who have been doing all the sound tonight. They have been doing double duty as well as doing the playback. They've been recording because, as you know, this is going to be a movie. As I think you all know, there's a camera up there, and obviously we have a couple of cameras on the ground as well. So they've been fantastic as well. We have on photography tonight, we have Gene Rios and Pat Cray, who both have very different styles. And again, Q is all about a diversity of experience. So when I got the two of them in, my direction to them was take your photos. I want to see what this looks like from your perspective. We have Dottie and Tina, who have been helping us with check-in. And on the way out, make sure you find them because they will have a Q gift bag for you at the end with lots of different Q pieces in it, all of which I made myself over the last several months as well. So that'll be a little treat for later. John Capel, who I haven't actually seen tonight. John is from Epic Promotionals. He's been helping me with the sets, and also he taught me to 3D print. So all of that stuff over there is thanks to John for helping me learn that stuff. Jen Brown is here. She's on the live feed. Jen is a very old dear friend of mine, and she's been doing great tonight. I'm so glad she's here. And we have CJ and Kevin, who have been my main team over the last few days. All of this and everything is so much thanks to the two of them. They've been absolutely amazing. And Kevin in particular, I'll give a special shout out because some of his help over the last few weeks with the difference between getting this done and not getting this done. And last on the team, I'm going to give an honorary mention to Drew because Drew stepped in at the last minute when I needed some help, and it was a really big help as well. So thank you to Drew. Yes, please. They've all been amazing. Thank you all so much, really. Next, I just want to highlight the partners because, I mean, you look around this room, there's a lot going on here, but I didn't pay for 90% of this. Like most of this has been covered by partners, and the first of which I'll talk about, the Saturn Club. I have worked on movies all over the world and worked with tons of locations and just experienced so many people in that world. And this, and I'm not being hyperbolic, I'm not just saying it, was the easiest. And I see Dan over there, and I'm going to say Dan and Rob and Timothy and Joel, who have been fantastic. This has been the easiest relationship I've ever had with any location ever. And they've made it so easy. They gave me this whole space for 4 days to set this up and do the event and kind of pack down. So huge thank you to Stan Club. And I'd like to give a round of applause. Thank you. Next, we don't have any reps tonight, so we can kind of keep this one short, but Cinelease and Expressway Cinema, who are camera, film equipment houses, the camera up there, they basically provided all of that for free for me, and that would have cost a pretty penny too. So thank you to them. Yes, please, let's give them a round of applause. I love that. Thank you. Doing my job for me. Then we have Sacred Heart Productions, and I think I've already mentioned Pat and Dan. They have one of the most complicated jobs tonight. The LED screens are also there. Sacred Heart also paid me money when I needed it to keep going. So special thank you to them, and thank you for making tonight so excellent and wonderful. Thank you to them, truly. And yeah, great. We have Lloyd Taco Factory here. My friend Pete is here. They provided the burritos to us for this evening, and also the after party at 10 o'clock. And I'd love to see as many of you there as possible. We're going to hang out and drink. So I'd love to hear about your experience. We're going to be doing that on Elmwood at Lloyd at 10 o'clock. So please see us there. Let's give a round of applause. Yeah. And special mention to Pete and Lloyd, because they were the first partners that came in on this. They were the first one. As soon as I told Pete what I was planning, he's like, yes, I am in. We have Oh Goody Bags, which is Dottie, who is over there. Dottie has been a wonderful help in lots of different ways throughout this launch, as well as hosting this and helping me out in this evening. But Oh Goody is also going to be a partner in the Q Quest. That's right up her street, so I'm very excited to be working with her there too. We then have Epic Promotionals. Again, I don't see John here, but John, as I said, has been helping with all the set stuff. Epic Promotionals is an experiential marketing company. He builds loads of cool stuff. So if you just want something cool built, check out Epic Promotionals. We have Blue Image Photos. We have Robert over there by the camera. Thank you, Robert, so much for providing the camera. Yeah, I mean, I see the queue from here. Looks so cool. Hopefully you all got some good pictures and you can share those later. I also want to mention the I Love Buffalo podcast. Josh Kettery, who hosts the I Love Buffalo podcast. Again, been one of the biggest supporters of Q, and I couldn't have done this without him. So thank you so much to them, and listen to the podcast, because like this, there's a lot of Buffalo love in there. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah. All right. And the last partner I'll mention is not actually one that's done anything yet, but we have Greyline Media here, and Greyline Media is the biggest local Buffalo out-of-home marketing company, and they are going to be helping us with the citywide campaign. So their work's about to happen soon enough, and thank you so much to the Greyline folks. Now I'm going to artists. If there's any artists here, Gene, Max, or you can stand there. Any artists here? So I wanted to show what Buffalo had to offer. So I wanted to get a few local artists to create a few pieces. So the first one I mentioned, and is Delano here? I don't know if he made it. He's got some stuff going on. No, okay. So Delano is this piece down here. And I really responded to his work because I love nature, and the way that and I also love space, but the way that it moved just made me feel like I was sitting in a forest as I just stared at it. It just kind of pulsed and breathed, and I loved it. So I'm really grateful that he created this piece for the event. Next, we have over here Annette Daniels-Taylor and Bibi Delore on this beautiful plant art piece. I actually first got introduced to the two of them in this room. Annette was doing a talk just on this stage, and she was talking about having 400 plants and how much she loved them and how much of an impact that had in her life. And to me, I'm like, let's make some plant art. Let's get something here And so I'm going to pass the mic over to them if you want to say anything about your piece.
400 plants sounds like a lot, but I have a lot of space. I have a big house. So my name is Annette Daniels Taylor, and I'm an artist that lives and works in Buffalo. The company that I started is called Queenager Projects. Queenager Projects is a media arts company where we curate workshops, educational workshops, and we also create eco-poetic films. And those are films where I take in account the landscape. You may be only looking at the landscape, or maybe you'll be looking at the close-up of a tree, and you will hear voices speaking, and sometimes you'll hear maybe me or another actor or person reciting poetry that coincides with the imagery that you're seeing. Right now, we're working on a short documentary focusing on urban gardeners within the city of Buffalo. We started by interviewing different participants for the East Side Garden Walk, and that's been really interesting. I'm learning a lot. I have a very large front garden filled with perennials and a back garden, and as David said, yes, I have over 400 plants in my home. I love to propagate. So we also sell plants because 400 plants will turn into 1,000 very easily in this type of weather. So Queenager Projects is the company. We're located at 567 Exchange. I would love if all of you, any of you who are interested, would sign our book, that we could send you our newsletter, letting you know when new workshops are opening up and when new plants are available. And we can also let you know when the film is finished, and we'd love to invite you to the screening. So thank you so much.
Next up is my friend Sarah Myers. I see you. So Sarah, we knew each other when I moved to Buffalo, got to be friends. And in the corner over here, in fact, I'm sorry, dear lady, right where you're sitting. Oh, and then there's bags here and everything in the way of this. We're going to put this here. That's okay. Excuse me 1 second. That's fine. So Sarah is a wonderful artist. She's a wonderful painter, and I encourage you to go and look at her work on her website. She does some amazing tree work and landscapes, and I just love it. But when I visited Sarah's shop and we talked about putting her in this, she had a picture in mind, which was this picture. And as soon as I saw it and heard the story, it just was, I knew it was perfect. And just, I'll let her tell it a little bit, but as I understand, this is one of the first paintings she ever did. It's from the farm where I lived. And this is her learning. And I thought that was very apt for tonight, but I'm going to pass it over if you want. Sorry.
I learned so much about you tonight that I never knew, and I've lived next to David for over a year. But yeah, so the colored monochromes here, we chose to go along with the theme of the blue and the yellow. And that painting there was one of the first paintings I made when I was 15 years old. It's a landscape from our farm that everybody that visits the farm and stays at the farm holds it so dear. 'Cause it's really a special place, and it tends to change a lot of people's lives. And I'm just so happy to be here to support David and his creativity and all the great things that he's doing with his life. And when I entered the room, I felt a real warmth, and I don't feel that all the time. And it was really inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And that farm did change my life. It's, one of the reasons I'm here right now. And then we have Jonna, which is a really fun one. This is this big, beautiful cocoon here, which she has been, I'm just going to let her tell you.
So I met David last month, like less than a month ago. And he was like, I'm doing this crazy thing. Do you want to be part of this? I'm like, hell to the yes. And I had this crazy, wild idea to make a cocoon because there's so many things that are happening in this world, that are changing in this world, and sometimes change is scary. But in all of opportunities for metamorphosis, there's an opportunity to emerge from something that is hard on the outside and mushy on the inside and scary. There's the opportunity to emerge into something that is new and beautiful and fragile. The cocoon is gonna get borned. Okay. Yeah.
The big reveal.
It's all a grand experiment. So here goes. If you hold the door open.
This was an intense build for her, just to say this is, it's incredible what she's done.
This whole thing was nothing 4 days ago.
Wow. I haven't seen the butterfly yet, so this is amazing.
I hope it stays up there.
Wow. Well, thank you, Jana. This is incredible. I'll also say that as most people have been commenting on the room to me tonight, most people are saying, I love the cocoon. And I'm like, well, look around. I mean, what about? Just kidding. 3 photographers up here. These are Max and Jean and Paul. He's standing right in front of me. I can even remember that. So I'm going to just point them out because they're all, they're wonderful, talented photographers and videographers, and they just do phenomenal work. Over here we have one of Jean. Jean's here. Do you want to say something about that? Let's hear it, Jean. I'm going to put you on the spot. I love your work.
Yes, my name is Jay Rios, photographer here in New York. So this piece was created for Jima, the concept piece, where they wanted to showcase young Black Americans that were able to just dream and be happy. And this was the perfect opportunity for me to capture this moment. Every shot was planned for this concept, except for this one. This shot was not planned. She was jumping on the bed, having fun, having a good time. Then she just laid there just like this. I said, hold that. And then she was chewing gum, and I was like, blow gum, and then just like dreaming of what you want to be in the future. And she gave me this. And it was just the perfect shot. It's one of my favorite shots. And her sister's actually right here. So this is one of my favorite shots, and I'm so happy that they allowed me to showcase that here today. And if you guys are interested in my photography, please follow me at JRios.2B on Instagram, JRios.2B on Instagram. Also, am director of photography for Buffalo Fashion Runway, as well as director of community engagement and program for the second floor. So please look out for that. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Julia. And I really love being too, just a really wonderful, kind person. And also just to say, Jean's helped me in other ways throughout this. For example, the fashion show, they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Jean, so thank you, Jean. Now, lastly in this chapter, in this penultimate chapter, we've got one more after this just to finish up. I'm just going to talk about the performers, and they all, I think they've all spoken for themselves with the performances we have. And I'd like to give a round of applause to them as we go through. We have Gillian Hainsworth. I'll be honest, I missed a lot of that because I was so in my head, so I can't wait to watch the playback and hear every word she said. But from what I did hear, it was moving and inspiring. Second up was 1203 with a curation by Sneak Vibing. Is 1203 still around? No? Maybe? Give her a applause. It was fantastic. I loved his work, Chandra from Sleep Vibing. I asked her to curate something for me, and she picked 1203. And his work is extremely uplifting and positive and about growth and acts for this evening. So it's a nice fit. Next up, we had the Buffalo Comedy Collective doing their improv, which was fantastic. And then we had Configuration Dance Theatre. Oh, wait, yeah, we'll go with that. We had Configuration Dance Theatre. We had a piece choreographed by Joseph Cipolla and danced by Eden Bridges and Dominic Giambra. This one, I've never been to a ballet in my life, and I've always wanted to go. And so when I was putting this together and thinking of all the acts, I'm like, why don't I just get a ballet performance? And then I get to see one right here. So thank you to them. Amazing. Then we have Jana Willoughby Law again, who you just heard from with the Cocoon. She was performing over here, the song Buffalo Girl. That was, again, perfectly apt. Thank you. In the wrong order, we have the Buffalo Fashion Runway, which was such a cool thing, and I'm very excited to see that come up with what the Runways, this for sure. And last of the performers haven't played yet. They're about to play over there, and they're actually going to play a couple of times and play now and at the end as well. But before we go into that, we're going to jump over to Jamie on the harmonium to transition over. You're up. And so we have over here, we have Gretchen Fisher, Kirsten Fisher, and Adriana Pera. I hope I pronounced them all okay. And I'm going to pass it to Jamie.
Yeah.
You good with this? This is the last chapter. We're almost there when we get out of this heat. One of the things that helped me a lot in the last few months was the Buffalo Open Coffee Club. And there's a lot of people here tonight from there. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, it's like a networking thing. It's 7:30 at Seneca One every week on a Tuesday. And it's just a lot of people who want to help Buffalo grow. So it's a really nice networking community. Highly recommend everyone come along. I'm there often. But one of the things they do each week is people get the opportunity to go up and speak, and they do two things. They have to give something and they ask for something. And so I thought tonight I would offer a few gives and have a couple of asks to close it out. The first give is, we talked about it tonight, but talking to people, I think, is the most fundamental skill anyone can have. So I just encourage all of you to try and develop your communication skills. And that goes for literally every single person in that room, me, first of all. Like, do it on cue anytime, go out and explore the world, talk to different people, watch different stuff. Like, just get as much experience as you can, because the people who can talk to anyone are the people who will thrive in the future. The second thing is just an observation on purpose for me. I think for most of my life, and a lot of us have had this idea that purpose is about finding the one thing that you're destined to do. And through this journey, I think I've understood that isn't what purpose is. In fact, purpose is what you create in every moment. And like with Q and like with my idea to learn from every moment, that is me creating purpose out of every moment. And all of you searching for it, you don't need to look anywhere else but in here. It's all about how you see the world. The third thing is, and then this is again advice for the future, at least from my perspective, especially with the rise of AI, being a generalist, again, is a key to the future. People who can do a lot of things are really going to thrive in the future. And this is just my perspective, my opinion, but I would encourage anyone to start doing a lot of different things, because it's going to pay dividends very, very, very soon. On the note of AI, I also wanted to encourage people to embrace it. It's a really scary thing, and there are definitely things that we should be terrified about. And I am certainly one of those people who's terrified about certain aspects. But again, AI is here. It's what we are experiencing now is 0.01% of what AI is going to be. It is going to change everything about the world. And if you push back on it now, if you resist it, again, you're going to be in trouble in a few years. And I'm not saying change your life. I'm not saying do everything differently, but learn it. Understand how it works, because it will help you as you progress into the future. I had a couple of competitions tonight. Where's Dottie? Dottie. There she is. We're doing the competition.
Oh, yes.
The winners. So we had two competitions. So we had little raffles. So we're going to pick those. Each of the raffle winners, they win a couple of these books over here. If you saw those, we've got a couple of copies of those, and also a poster, a unique Q poster that only those three will ever get. And Dottie's going to come over and give me those raffle tickets in a second. And also she's going to give me, if any of you did that Qubit challenge, she's going to do that as well. I'm going to give you those numbers. I'm going to come back to that. Where is she there? Oh, well, you may have heard that. Anyway, Travis, if he's still here, what was his number?
It was
Okay? Yeah. Okay, so it's 4-5-4 in the vase. And Travis wins a one-on-one growth session with me, with himself, or he can nominate someone, or we can just go out to lunch, whatever it is. Get to know him better. I love it. The second thing is the raffle, which Dottie is over there again with the raffle tickets. We're going to pick any three numbers. If you've got this number, go and find Dottie afterwards, and she's going to come and give you a prize. We have 794060. We have 794056. You can get that 10. And 794048. Okay, that's the winners. Find Dottie to get your prizes. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you. A couple of asks. Spread the word about Q, right? You're all here. You all have a better understanding of what Q is than probably anyone else in the world right now. And as you know, as we grow, I want to help Buffalo grow. So the more of you that spread the word and the more people that we can get into Q and embracing it, especially as we get into the Citywide campaign and the treasure hunt, sharing stuff, getting people out and doing this stuff, please, please, please do so. And I'm giving you tools to do that. When you all leave tonight, you're going to get a gift bag. And in this gift bag, there's 10 pieces of Q merchandise. And what I'm going to ask you is that when we deploy the Citywide campaign, all that merch, please put it somewhere where people are going to see it. Because again, I want people to be seeing Q everywhere. And you're all from different communities, all from different parts of the city. And while we spread that, I'd really appreciate it. Now, I've had a lot of support to do this event, and I couldn't have done it without it. But the next piece is I need support too. I literally can't do it on my own, and I'm going to need some financial support. If you want to help Buffalo grow, if you want to help this vision grow, if you want to make the world a better place, there's a QR code over here. And if you're watching at home, you can go on the website and find a link there. But please contribute if you can. In the same way, we're selling a lot of this art tonight, and all the profits, if anything gets sold, it will all go towards this campaign. So again, that's another way to contribute. I appreciate all of that. And now, as a way to finish this, I know we're over time, but I think it'd be a hilarious way to finish. It'll really get you to get to know me a bit better. I thought I would finish on a funny story about me. And I guess I look around this room and I think there's people here who are like, how did you do all this? And like, you just been born with this. You're able to just do all this. But the fact is, it's not true at all. I was an idiot for most of my life, and I just had to learn a lot of lessons on the way. But the story I tell, and there's some people in this room who already know it, and we're going to be cringing already. Okay, so I was on the first movie I ever worked on, Creation. It was a $10 million British movie. I was living in the south of England in Brighton, and we were filming north of London. And for me to drive from there to set was about 2 hours, and I had to be on set at like 6 a.m. every day, so I was working from like 4 a.m. to like 10 p.m. at night, and I was exhausted. And one of the things I had to do on my way to work was pick up actors. Because it was a low-budget movie, I was like the production assistant plus the runner driver. Now, one Thursday, I got really sick. Like it was coming on, like, I'm just gonna be frank, both ends. You know, it was not a good situation at all. And back then in the industry, unless you were dead, you showed up to work. Whatever was going on, whatever happened, you showed up to work. So I was getting sick and I was like, okay, it's Friday. I'm just gonna push through, recover on the weekend, and I'll be fine by Monday. Trust me, this is worth it when it's coming. Get through Friday, and it's not a fun experience, and then it really kicks in Friday night, and I have a terrible weekend. But Monday comes around, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be fine tomorrow. I'll get up, even if I'm a bit. 4 a.m. comes along, and I'm exhausted, and I'm pale, and I'm sweating, and I'm clearly just not full, not fully better, but I'm much closer. So I think, okay, I've got to go to work anyway. So I drive to London to pick up the actor on the way to set. By the time I get to his house, it's middle of winter, it's pitch black, it's freezing cold, it's 5:30 in the morning, and back then, you couldn't text people to say, hey, I'm here, come outside. It was just like, go and knock on the door. But parked the car about 30 feet from this guy's house, and I went up to the door and I knocked on it. And as I knocked, I farted, and I pooped my pants. For real, this really happened, and it gets worse. Man, I put my pants just as I've knocked, and I was so exhausted and also just so inexperienced in life at that point. I had no idea what to do in that moment. I just froze, and before I even had a chance to think about what to do and how to react to this, the guy opened the door, and it was such a split second. And he looked out and he said, "I'll be right there," and I was like, and he shut the door. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do here? Like, I've got, it stinks. I'm sorry, but it wasn't cool. So I start walking back to the car, trying to work out what to do. But before I even get there, the guy is jumping. I hear him jumping. He's opening the door and he's jumping in the back of the car. I'm like, that's my opportunity missed to say something. And again, I don't even know what I'd say because I've never dealt with anything like this before. So in my infantile brain and just exhausted, I got to the car and was like, oh, and here's the other thing I mentioned. Actors don't get to set on time. It causes a lot of knock-on problems. So you've got to get to set on time, whatever happens. So that's what's going through my head is, I can't deal with this because I've got to get this guy to set. So I opened the door and I jumped in the car and sat in the driver's seat and I looked in the mirror and just the face of horror. Just as soon as I got in, he was like, this is bad news. And fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, he didn't say a word. He just sat there in it. And then I had to get him to work, which was 45 minutes away on the freeway. So we drove in freezing cold England at like 5:36 in the morning with the windows completely down on the freeway. And by the time we got there, we were just absolutely freezing. I pulled him up to the trailer, and before I'd even stopped, this guy was like rolling out of the car and was gone. And parked up, I got out and I went and cleaned myself up and I went back to work. But that was maybe the most embarrassing moment of my life. Was yeah, it was. The funny thing about the last thing I'll say is, about a year later, a friend of mine in the group who didn't even work in the industry started excitedly telling our friends about this story, and he's about 30 seconds in. I'm like, that's me. That's my story. It got on around everywhere, and I hadn't even known at this point. But okay, that's the last three for tonight. Really, this is surreal. It's been an intense 6 months to get all this together, and I'm so wonderfully grateful for all of you. You've really been fantastic guest performers, artists, and everyone else that was involved in this. Please help me make this a reality. Please help me realize the potential of Buffalo, because that's what I'm trying to do right here, and I do need help to do it. So I'd appreciate anything you can offer. Thank you for watching at home, if you've been watching at home. And after party at Lloyd's, 10 o'clock, please see us there. I'd love to catch up with you, hear about your experience. And I'll leave it there. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
It really wrapped up reality.
Yeah, I'm real proud. You're the way you capture people.
Another piece. So I'm like, she looks so cool. I want to disrupt it if anything. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. That was so much fun. That is crazy. I love your parents. I hear so good. Are you? Yes. Yes. I couldn't look at it. I don't know. Yes. Yes. Your husband is very good at like all the techie stuff. This is forte. I had no idea. Yes. Yep, he does. I know none of them. That's